In looking forward to the 5-month-long hour of temptation, we want to look at it from every possible angle within the realm of sanity. And one of those angles are, what if that first beast that emerges at the beginning of that 5-month-long hour of temptation after Satan and his angels are cast out of heaven unto the earth, what if that first political beast is made to look like the kingdom of the Antichrist on purpose? Then the Christian nations fight against it. Oh, we have to stop Satan. And then the deadly wound to the one world system, the one world political system, that is to say, transpires. And then thinking that they've defeated the kingdom of the Antichrist, then Satan appears as the false Christ, you see. That's one angle you want to look at. And how many people would fall for that? And within this, you would have a fake Armageddon at that time and a fake Mark of the Beast just before that. And the last thing people would expect to happen after that, if they thought the Antichrist was already on the earth, which may very well be the role that Satan plays in that first half hour, what would the last thing they would expect be at that point in time? That would be for Satan to appear as the false Christ. They're going to think that it's Jesus, and he'll appear hypothetically saying something to the effect of, "Well done, my children, you've defeated the devil, now I'm here to reign for 1,000 years. Satan will say, as the false Christ, and then, after that 5-month-long hour of temptation is over with, the true Christ returns. We know that for a fact. At the 7th trumpet, that's when the true Christ returns. And when you look at 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9, Paul, speaking of the Antichrist, Satan's role of Antichrist, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. It's after the working of Satan because it is Satan. But is this after? Tense-wise, after that first half hour? Satan will be here for the entire 5 months. That's the woe of the 5th trumpet. Remember that eagle said, "Woe, woe, woe," because of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. And the woe of the 5th trumpet is when they're cast out. The woe of the 6th trumpet is when Satan appears. And Christ tells us that that's a woe trumpet in Matthew 24 when he says, "Woe to them that are with child and give suck," after he says, "When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place," that's Satan appearing as the false Christ. And then a half hour later, the true Christ returns, the third and final woe, the woe trumpet that is the 7th trumpet, the return of the true Christ. And nobody's going to gather back to Christ until then. Again, look at 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 9. Even him, the Antichrist, Satan, whose coming is after the working of Satan, because he is Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. What are signs? Remember in Matthew 24, what is the sign of your coming? The disciples asked Jesus, and of the end of the world. Those signs leading up to the return of the true Christ. So we're talking about fake signs and a greater deception here as a possibility you'll want to keep in mind so that you're not deceived. And the fake Armageddon, as I said, and making people think that the tribulation has already happened whenever Satan appears as the false Christ in the middle of that tribulation. Why do I say that it's the Christian nations that come against this one world political system? Well, we don't know that. Again, this is a hypothesis, but there's a strong clue toward that possibility, I believe, in Daniel chapter 11, where it says the king of the south comes against the vile person. Satan is that vile person, and he plays a different role in that first half hour before he appears as Antichrist. And you can read of that in Daniel 11, verses 21 through 30, where the king of the south, I believe to be the Christian nations, the king of the north is Esau, and the king of the south is Jacob, Jacob being those Christian nations, the 12 tribes scattered throughout the earth and forming those Christian nations. But Israel, true Israel, is whosoever will. If you're in Christ, then you're Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. But there are natural branches, those tribes scattered throughout the world who form the Christian nations. That's the king of the south, and the king of the south comes against this vile person, and perhaps that's the deadly wound, is what I'm saying here. And why would they do that? Because they see that one world political system to be evil. And so, carrying out this deadly wound, possibly, we don't know for a fact that's what it's going to be, but we're just speculating so that we're not deceived and looking at it from every possible angle within the realm of sanity based on what we've learned from our Father's Word. And so the king of the south coming against the vile person, carrying out the deadly wound, then thinking that they've defeated the Antichrist and his one world system, then Satan appears as the Antichrist, and they fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. And they receive that mark of the beast in their forehead, which is the deception, and believe that Jesus has returned. And how do you know that Jesus has returned? Because you won't be in a human body anymore. That's how you know. That's the acid test. So there you have it. This just gives you something to think about. We haven't even really scratched the surface as far as this is concerned, but you get the idea. So think of it from every possible angle you can so that you're not snowed whenever that 5-month-long hour of temptation begins. And that's when that one-world political system emerges. It will receive a deadly wound, and Satan will appear after that deadly wound in Jerusalem as the false Christ. And then after the tribulation of those days, and only after the tribulation of those days, after the 5-month-long hour of temptation, the true Christ shall return.